Button here. Good morning, everybody. Today is July. Golly, what is today? July the 12th, 2023. So, welcome, everybody. Hope you can see me on your screen. And good morning to see y'all. And gosh, where is the half the year gone? Here we are in July, and the 4th is gone. Now we're in the middle of summertime, sweating or at the beach or vacation or working or whatever it is, drying out. So it's good to see all of y'all on the line here today. See new faces and man, I'm telling you, just July started off with a bang, and I know y'all are too. So I'm excited today. I'm super excited. I'm super pumped about being here. It's been a couple of weeks off and on, so I apologize for that. But welcome back, and it's good to get back in the groove of things to protect families. So my name again is Keelan Johnson. In case y'all don't know, I am the sales manager here for the territory, and I've been in the insurance business about 23 years now. So since 2000, and all the way from an agent with Farmers Insurance to having my own agency to a district manager for Farmers Insurance to independent, all the way to a with 2016 Security National Life. So I've been here since 2016. Now time flies when you're having fun, protecting families. And I tell this story almost every time, but not every time. About let's see here, 2013, had a life change event, and so anyways, I went and I said, what am I going to do? I've got all my license. I got my property casualty. I've got my securities license and everything. I said, what am I going to do? I said, what is it that everybody needs? What is it that everybody's going to use? What is it that everybody's going to has to have? I mean, between auto insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, commercial. Good morning, Nicole. Any kind of insurance there might be. What is it that everybody is going to use in the end? And there's no doubt it came all the way back around to final expense, because no matter, y'all may know this or may not know it, we're all going to pass away one day. It's just going to happen. And we just don't know when, and I'm glad we kind of don't know when, but we don't know when. But the beauty is that you are here to serve people. You're here as a professional to protect people. And that is your position right now, as an opportunity to go protect people. You'll see some of my videos, and we'll get into it later, about protecting 5 a day or talking to 5 a day. I really, 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 really am big on, if you're licensed and you went through the test and you went through all of our procedures to get appointed, and you're rare, you're one of few, and now you have the opportunity to protect families and make sure that one day when your family or their family or any family passes away, you're the one that's going to be handing that check or hugging that neck, shaking that hand of that family and going, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that I could protect you. I'm glad that I could help your family out. And so that's what's important to me. I hope it's important to you to know that not always are we going to use, and don't take this wrong if you do, and that's okay, but not always are we going to use Medicare. Not always are we going to use health if we don't need to. Not always are we going to use our auto insurance or homeowners insurance, but there is a guarantee that if you have final expense, you're going to use it one day. So that's the point that I want to drive home today, and I'm super excited. Good morning, Chris, to have everybody on the line. Hope you can hear me well. One thing I wanted to go, I'm going to kind of do some housekeeping here. If you have the chat box here, you're welcome to go in here and say hello or whatever it may be. And if you have a question, you're welcome to type it there in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself. I will have everybody on mute just for background noise wise. So a couple of things here that I want you to have, and I hope you do have these already, but I'll give them to you again. I want you to have the tools website. So finalexpenselife.us. What you're going to find, I'm going to reference this quite a few times, and I did put it in the chat box, and you can see it again at the top of my screen here. Can y'all see when I toggle back and forth? Can you see this right here? Shake your head yes. Can you see it, Michael? Yes or no? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you're able to see my share screen. At the top, you see the URL. It's called finalexpenselife.us. So finalexpenselife.us. That's really important here because this is the toolbox, and I'm going to do some updating on it here pretty soon because we've come out with some new opportunities. This is what I'm going to reference to with you. I suggest you put it on your phone, you put it on your computer, anywhere you can get access to it, because I really do believe in making it easy for you to go and find tools. The hardest thing about fixing a car, hardest thing about fixing anything around the house, and men, if you know, and ladies, if you know too. And I'm not saying women don't fix anything, but I'll reference it maybe to the kitchen, or not being sexist or whatever, but the kitchen or what, housekeeping or tools or yard or whatever you do, is finding a tool. Because you're like, dang, where'd I put that thing? I can't tell you how many times I couldn't find a screwdriver, went to the store and bought a screwdriver. And then when I'd clean out my garage, I've got 15 screwdrivers. It's just because I needed it then. I wanted it then, and I had to have it then. And that's what's important, is when you're trying to fix something, it's important that you have it right then. Good morning, Raul. So I wanted that to be my opportunity to give you, because that's what I want, is to be able to give you something to where you can fix things, or you can work on things, or solve something quickly, because your job in the field is to go make relationships. Your job in the field is to build trust with clients. My job is to help you have the tool you need and the procedure you need. So your job is to fix the car, but I'm the one that says, use a screwdriver, put it right here and turn it and torque it to the right. And you do it, and then we have a solution that the car is solved. And then the home office's job is to pay you commission and help you with leads, process your policy, and get it back to you. Okay, so there's a three-way street there, and everybody plays a role. But finalexpenselife.us, write that down, copy it. I put it in the chat box. Make sure you know where that's at, and you play around in here. Go in there and play around, because it's very important that you have these tools. What you're going to find in here, here's the drive-by, just a quick flyby. You're going to find a how-to section. And when you come into the weekly recorded trainings, look here, it takes you over to my YouTube channel, and I'll be recording this one today. But look at some of these past videos that are in here. Navigating the portal, how to complete the loyalty app, the underwriting changes that are with the loyalty, the power of 5. I love this one. Branding yourself. What is your hook? That means just how do you brand yourself? What are you known as out there in the field? Overcoming objections. How do you overcome an objection when a client gives that to you? Re-engaging yourself, supplies and branding. Okay, so go in there, subscribe to the channel, and watch some of these videos, because I think it's important that our learning these days has kind of become virtual. Unfortunately, I wish it all could be in person, but it's just a large place, and then the COVID, and then it's hard to get the areas to find to train people. But I want you to have the tools. And here's the deal. I'm going to be quite, frank with you, is that, hold on, before we do that, I'm going to share this. I'm going to copy this also into the chat box. So if you're a copy and paster, you can go there and find that tool, which is my YouTube channel. Okay, so you can go in there and find my YouTube channel. So if you have some downtime, and here's the thing, everybody on the line here, you're all independent business owners. You own your own business, Michael. You own your own business, Raul. Chris, you're in charge of your own boots you put on, or shoes. Adriana, Nicole, Jimmy, everybody, Trina, you are a grown business person. So if you want to get sharper, you want to get better, you want to get more efficient at your job, or your business, go learn, go learn, dive into these things, watch some videos. Some of them might be redundant. You can fast forward just like you do on Netflix. We all have Hulu, we all have Netflix, we all have Amazon Prime. I know y'all do. You watch these movies, you sit at home or on your iPad or on your phone. I know you do. You might as well be watching me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of boring, but at least you'll get some tools, and that's what I want for you. I want to give you an opportunity to grab as many tools as you can, pull it apart, and keep the ones that you like. It's your toolbox. It's your business, but I want to make sure that I give those to you. Also, any of these videos, if you do like bilingual and you prefer Spanish, you can go on and watch these things, and it will translate it into Spanish for you. If you have any questions about that, let me know. I have put out a flyer. I have put out a PDF on that, how to do it. you basically just go to your video and you go to the settings down there and you translate it back out. So if you have a problem with that, text me. I'll send you the PDF on how to do that. Okay. So there we go. So we've got that one. And then also my third, and I'm going to be redoing this today or tomorrow just to include the new videos. But this is new agent training. This is a 7-step process as to how to be, if you're a new agent, how to kind of get started. The basic things about navigating the portal, ordering your supplies, 2 ways to sell a policy, completing a paper and a web app, underwriting, and working referrals. Okay, so this allows you to watch the basic videos that will get you up and running. And this is called finaltraining.us. Okay, so final training. So I'm going to put that in my notes here. And so you can copy and paste that and go to these tools, go to these places. These are road shows. I'm going to be putting on another road show probably mid-September. So I'll be coming to Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and then down to the Valley. So get your calendars ready. I would love to see you there, shake your hand, and we will talk and have a good time as an SNL family. All right. So a couple of things, those are in the pipeline. 2, also be looking for our new Guardian plan that will be releasing this week, I believe on the 16th, if I'm not mistaken, maybe this weekend. But in other words, as a summary, I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you in a minute. So as a summary of what it does. But as we do a flyby into finalexpenselife.us, y'all may or may not know, we write policies in person, which means we write them on paper, and then we write them on our computer, and we can write it over the phone. So no matter what your client wants you to do, like if, hey, I want you to come over to the house and I want to see you, and I want to write a policy, we can do that with a paper application, and or we can write it also over the agent portal right here by just going into our web app right here, going into our web app. So that's important also from that aspect. And then our rate calculator is pretty simple. Get in there and play around. I'm not going to go through that today, but get in there and play around. Look at the rates, preferred, standard, modified, and then tools. So I challenge you to go in here and spend a while in here. Just open these things up, look at them, question them. What you're going to find are some good tools here. Basically, just like I talked about before, you've got your loyalty plan, which is what we're going to be talking about, today mainly. And then you've got your security care plan, which is now going to be called the Guardian. So this will switch to become what you're going to see as the Guardian. Okay, so that's good. That's going to be switching to the Guardian, which will allow you to not only go to 15,000, this will allow you to go to 25,000. Okay, so this will be changing to 25,000, and that will be a good thing. This age group will go to 39. I can't draw real well right now. 39. But anyways, so you'll have the Guardian, that will catch everybody up to 39, and then you'll have the loyalty plan, which will go all the way up to 90. Okay, so these are the two, the 2 main plans that we're looking at. It's going to be called the Guardian. We do have an MIB, so if you have a client that has a dialysis, Alzheimer's, dementia, that's where you're going to need to be. And then if you have an eye care plan, right here, you've got people who goes from $25,000 to $30,000 for ages 25. But we really won't need that because this is going to go over here to 25,000. So we'll just have basically probably 2 plans, the loyalty and the Guardian. So just know that those are, the Guardian will be right here pretty soon, and we do have the loyalty plan online right now going forward. Okay. Underwriting prescription guide. I'm not going to do that today because it's another whole webinar. The loyalty plan, know your height and weight. So here's your homework assignment. Go in here if you have not yet and click on each one of these. And if you have questions about it, let me know. It even goes down to, I love this illustration right here. And this illustration, it shows you, this is actually my policy. I wrote this policy. Let me make sure we don't have any questions here. Okay. So I guess we're still good on watching this. I wrote this policy. It's on me back when I was 41 years old, $20,000 policy. and it's growing and growing and growing and growing. I can't believe I'm almost in my 8th year of that thing. But it's got cash value, it's got a loan value, and it's got paid up. So know that we are writing, all of our policies are very strong whole life policies that gain cash value and they grow. So no matter if you get somebody says, well, what kind of policy is this? Well, this is a great whole life policy. These are the kind of policies that you pay for and you put in your sock drawer. And then, when you pass away, they're there for you. Okay. They will be there for you. So just know that. All right. So we write a very good policy. And hey, listen, after 20 years, if I'm still around kicking, my policy will be worth $6,000, but I will also have protected my family for $20,000 moving forward. Okay, through all of it. So it's a great policy. If you don't own one, you need one. I'm serious, because we do write a great policy, and it is good for you and the family and good for yourself. Your state apps, I put you a little shortcut in here. I suggest you go and watch, if you don't have applications and stuff, I suggest you go in here and watch the video on ordering supplies, and that's going to take you over here into your order supplies button. It's all free to you. You can click your language that you want, English or Spanish, click your state you want, and it will go in there just like this in English. And if I wanted Texas here, I'm going to click on Texas. It'll give me the plans that I need to download in paper and have them sent to you. Cool part about it is also under general items here. General items, come on, language, English, general items. Okay, we got to restart it here. Right here, you have a loyalty starter kit. So what this is going to allow you to do, this is under general items, is click on here and order these, which basically has 3 loyalty apps, 3 presentations, 3 brochures, and 3 referral forms. Okay, so it allows you to have all 3 of those things. So take a look at that and let me know if you have any questions, but order you some supplies there. Okay, so that's pretty important there. All right, so we're going to jump in today. I hope y'all can all see me, and I'm going to go into my my presentation piece. If you see right here underneath the first tab, how to sell a policy in person, I have it in English and Spanish. I'm going to download this and open it. Okay, so this is a presentation piece. All right, so we've got this right here. I need maybe a volunteer that can unmute themselves. I need a volunteer who can unmute themselves and talk. Do I have any talkers here? Anybody need some help here? Somebody's got to be able to volunteer their voice and be my client.
Hello.
Michael.
Yes, sir.
All right, there he is. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How about you?
Good. Why don't you introduce yourself to the class here?
Michael Hughes from Hillsboro, Texas.
All the way from Hillsboro, Texas. All right, the good old Texas boy there. So, Michael, you're my client today. All right. I hope you can see. Can you see my screen here when I'm in this brochure?
Sir.
Awesome, Michael. So, Michael, how long have you been doing final expense?
Since 2007.
2007. Awesome.
I got my first license 2007.
Super. Well, golly, that's a long time. So glad to have you on the line here. I'm going to take my video off to share so I can save bandwidth. Michael, have you seen this presentation before?
I did watch it.
Perfect. So you're going to be my client today. So, Michael, are you married?
No, I'm single.
Okay, so we're just going to do a presentation for Michael today. And so, Michael, thank you for letting me in your home today and visit with you. I appreciate that so much. You have a beautiful house.
Thank you. Glad to have you here.
Absolutely. So, Michael, I won't take a lot of your time today, but I just wanted to kind of go through a few things that outlines, who we are and what we do and how it can be important to yourself and then whoever your beneficiary, your kids, whatever your family may be. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So I always start out my conversation with my client as to, hey, I just want to go over a few things. It won't take me long, and I think that's important that you do that because it kind of relieves the tension and it kind of knocks down the point of hey, I'm gonna, I got a bunch of things I want to talk to you about for a while, and the clients are going, oh my gosh, how long is this going to take? But when you preface it, not that, hey, this won't be but a second, but you preface it, hey, I've got some things that might be important to you that I need to show you so that about our company and about what we do. Will that be okay? And you ask the confirmation to move forward. Sure. Michael's already agreed. So I say this, and I jump into my first part right here, and I just say, hey, Michael, I got to tell you a few things about this. Is that Security National Life has been around since 1965, and nearly actually right now at about $2 billion in assets. And that's important, Michael, because I write policies for a company that is very, very, very stable. Matter of fact, our company is on the stock market, and the ticker symbol is SNFCA. So we are on the stock market. You can look it up. And the reason that's important is that because what you're going to see, Michael, and I tell these people, which is true right now in the industry, when we've had COVID go on for the last two and a half years, believe it or not, whatever it may be, death rates have gone up for companies. Mortality has gone up across the board in any life insurance company. It's just a proven fact. So when that happens, what you got to see is that a lot of companies that aren't financially stable are actually paying out a lot of claims. The second part that's kind of bad is that in a low interest rate environment, what you've got going on here is that these companies aren't able to invest their money and make money, as much as they could in a high interest rate market. Okay. So you've got these companies, and the reason is important to you is that when we write you a policy, and did you hear what I said when I'm talking to my client? I say this: when we write you a policy, I'm just in the beginning of the presentation, and I'm what we call assuming the sale. So I want you to take another one. This is, and I don't want to be redundant to anybody or act elementary, but I think there's some things in here that are kind of just sales 101. So if you want to write it down, and you can or use it. But assuming the sale means that when I talk to Michael and I'm in the presentation, I'm already assuming that he's going to buy a policy from me. Because the reverse would be if I said, well, why it's important is one day if you buy a policy from us. No, I'm not going to say one day if. I'm going to say, so when we write you a policy and you have it in your hand, because people start thinking the way you're thinking. They start thinking the way you're preaching or you're talking. And you assume the sale, Michael's already buying. You say, Michael, one day when you buy a policy, that policy will always be around because we're very stable. And I want you to know that I wouldn't be here with a junky company. I'm here with a solid company that's always going to be around and a solid product. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yes.
Because it is important, yeah. Michael, the second thing I want to point out here is that, this is no doubt true. And this was produced a couple of years ago, so it could be higher now. I don't know, Michael. So when I'm talking to Michael, I say, I don't know, but I assume, Michael, that you probably have had someone in your family pass away, mother, father, anybody above you or below you. And I'm assuming you've kind of been a part of maybe a funeral where people had coverage or they didn't have coverage, one way or the other. And either there was something there to help them out or there was nothing and you had to help them out. So we see that all over the board. But we do know this, the average funeral these days, without the bells and whistles is between $8,000 or $10,000 right in there. Your cremations are in the $2,000 or $3,000 range, but we know that's 8 or 10, and that's the actual cost. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Have you had anything go on like this in your past, Michael?
Oh, yes.
So see, when Michael says, oh, yes, you're welcome to, depending on how your conversation goes, you're welcome to dive into that and go, well, tell me about that. And if Michael's willing to share, that's a great bonding moment. So what I'm trying to find here for you is bonding moments in these presentations where you can jump in and you can let the client talk. And when Michael starts talking about he had someone else, then now you're building trust. Now you're building loyalty because he's now telling you about his family and about his funeral and about what happened and there was money there or there wasn't. And now you're talking on everybody's in the same page. But I want you to use these points to bring up conversation pieces that allow you to talk to Michael, your Michael, and visit with them. So it is $8,000 or $10,000. So that's why we talk about that, Michael. And so I'm glad you understand that. Here's the point, Michael, is that how do people pay for these things? How where's the money coming from to take care of this? And that's why we're here. Number one, I don't know if you know this, but Social Security is not going to pay for your funeral. They pay, and that's the misnomer. A lot of people think, well, I'm on Social Security, I get a free funeral, but that's so far from true. They only pay $255 to a qualified dependent. That's all. Did you know that?
Yes.
Perfect. So when I ask a question after this, and I follow every statement with a question, and I say, "Did you know that?" and I get a yes, that means I'm building more trust. Michael, are you a veteran?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So veterans benefit, and this is a chance right here. If Michael was a veteran, you could go, oh yeah, well tell me about, what branch were you in? How long were you? They want you to talk to them. So I'm giving you points and times to talk to them. So if you're not a veteran, say, well, if you are a veteran, thank you for your service. Tell me a little bit about that. And a lot of people will go on and you have talking points, which is wonderful. That's what you want. But if he isn't, say, well, here's the thing about it is it really only pays $300 for a qualified independent anyway. So we won't be using that. Savings, Michael, do you have $15,000, $20,000 set aside in a savings account just to allocate towards your funeral?
Well,
So go ahead.
I saved, then something always comes up. So
Yeah.
I don't have it right now.
So yeah, did you hear what he said? Which is true of everybody in the world, nearly. So what you're trying to do here is that you're trying to also bring up some objections that might come out later, and those objections might be, well, I've already got a bunch of money. Oh well, no, I've already got one of these plans. So kind of if you're up against a wall or not. But normally, in the middle to low income family ranges, people do not have this, and then if they do have it, then your comeback is that, well, you know what? Most people, don't want to use that money just for this. Something else usually comes up and there's an emergency or they want to use it to pay for their family. And wouldn't you really just want to pay some monthly premiums versus just having to eat up or, take out all that cash? Okay. So, but it does allow you a point in time if they say, no, I've already got $50,000 saved up right over here. There's no need in you being here. Then you might want to get at that point in time, go, well, I can either finish the presentation or I can leave. So, you're just trying to uncover some of these stones. But most of the time, people are going to say, no, I don't. Most of the time, people are saying, no, I don't. And that leaves you a reason as to that's why we're here. And then also, Michael, I'm pretty sure of this one, but I'll have to ask you too. I bet you don't want to leave the burden to your loved ones. Is that right?
That's right.
There's probably not a single person in the world, but you might get someone out there who goes, yeah, well, I've been taking care of my family all my life and they can pay for this one. Michael, you've been in the business long enough. You probably heard that one before.
Yep.
And then you just have two options. You can say, well, bless their hearts, or, you can say a lot of things, but probably the proper one to say is that, hey, who's your beneficiary going to be with all this stuff? Or well, that'll be my son. I'll tell you what's your son's phone number? I need to be talking to him because he probably wants to get a policy out on you before he kills you. But anyways, no. But you want to make sure 99% of the time people say loved ones. So here, hey, listen, Social Security's not going to take care of it. The veterans are not going to take care of it. Your savings, you don't have it, and you're not going to depend on your loved ones. So, Michael, I want you to read out loud this check mark right here, the words below it, if you don't mind.
You want to leave behind loving memories, family heirlooms, inheritance properties.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Now read the X.
You don't want to leave behind funeral expenses, financial debt, medical debt, legal fees.
Is that true?
That's true.
So, I could probably, if I wanted to, just end the whole presentation there and go, Michael, just explain to me why we need a policy. But I want to make it very clear. If you can get your client, whether you're, right there with them or over the phone, it's kind of hard over the phone unless you can get them a presentation, but you can do it yourself. You need to really, really make sure they understand that why we're here, what you don't want to leave behind and what you do want to leave behind, because this is the most important part in order to transition to the next page. Okay, so really, really think about that, how you want your presentation to be, and when you look at it like this, basically we're just saying, here's who we are, here's what we know, here's what you don't have, or here's what we want to do. Okay, so think about this. That's all you really need right there, is that one page to really expound on your presentation to people and really build trust And you get these things for free. I mean, the company can give you as many as you want. They're beautiful. They're in a glossy. They're high quality, and they cost you nothing. Even if you don't make the sale, you need to leave these with people, and I'll show you why now. The second page of this is my favorite page of all. Okay, it's my favorite page of anything here. Okay, so basically, what it looks like is this: is that I'm going to ask Michael some questions. Okay. Michael, for you, here is your name, your address, your city, your telephone, your birth date, your age, your social. Who is your beneficiary going to be?
Be my sister.
Your sister. Okay, so we have Michael's sister up here. Okay, sister is going to be the beneficiary. Michael, would you say that your sister, right off the hand, if I were to go to your sister, she knows your birth date?
No, I wouldn't.
She might know the month and the day, but she might
She
not
knows
know
the
the
money.
year.
Yeah.
Would she know your social?
No.
Would she know where you were born?
Yes.
Okay. Were you married before?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have kids by your marriage?
Yes.
Okay. So this might be an important date in an obituary, your date that you were married, the place you were married. This might be important to know. Your sister would need to know your father's name and your mother's name, and your sister would need to know the birthplace, city and state of your mother and father. Okay. Now you have a sister. Do you have any brothers or anything?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you have a brother here. How many brothers do you have?
2.
Okay, 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Yes.
Are your mother and father, have they passed?
My mother's still living, father passed.
Okay, mother's still living. Okay, so your sister would know their name, but I guarantee she would not know most of their addresses right offhand. And probably wouldn't know most of their phone numbers right offhand. She could look it up, but probably wouldn't know it right offhand. Cousins, aunts, and uncles. Sure, you do probably have cousins, aunts, and uncles. She might know their names, but she's probably not going to know their addresses and phone numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at this. Let's look at this overall. This is Michael's information, and his sister is going to need to know this information, right? And when I do role play and I do a husband and a wife, I pick on the husband normally, and I say, hey, do you know all this stuff about your wife, and vice versa. I suggest every one of you, here's your homework. Every one of you, if you have not gotten one of these for yourself, for your spouse, and for your mother and father, go into the Angel portal and order one of these. Okay, order these today. This is your presentation piece, your final expense brochure. They're free. You can get 20 of them at a time. Okay, and you hit 20, and you hit add to cart, and you get those, and you complete these for each one of your family members. Here's the reason why. We get so used to looking things up in our phones or the digital world or having things at our fingertip. We forget that this is important information for the people you leave behind. This is important for Michael's sister to know these things right here, and to know these things right here, and to know these things right here, because when Michael's gone, she's going to have to look it up, and she's going to be distraught when Michael passes away. Michael, don't mean it, facetiously, but, just hypothetically. Uh, and these are important things to you. Put one of these things together for each one of your family members and see how it feels to you. That way you can relay that to other clients. Give it to them. Security National does it for free. Okay. Because when they pass away one day, and Michael, I want you to fill one of these out. Have you done one of these for yourself yet?
No.
Hey, Michael, I'm going to give you one of these. And tonight, when I leave, okay, I want you to fill it out completely, if you don't mind. That way, when the policy comes back to you, you'll have this and the policy all together, correct?
Correct.
Now, did you hear what I just did to Michael? Michael, what did I just do to you? I just pre-sold the policy. I told
Right.
Michael to fill one of these out, and then when the policy comes back to you, you put it all in one place, right?
Right.
And you said okay to buy a policy. So
Yes.
I'm pre-selling. So I gave Michael trust in me. I gave Michael confidence and a release of burden. I said, Michael, if you'll fill this out for your sister, and then when your policy comes back, you tell your sister, hey, sister, I've got this and my policy is all good. I'm not dying. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't go to the doctor. But when that day comes, it's all in one spot, right?
Right.
And that's a peace of mind. My dad is going into surgery next Thursday. He has 7 blockages in his heart, and we don't know if he's going to make it through the surgery, a week from tomorrow. But, confidence is that he told my mom, said, hey, I have these policies here in this box over here. There's 3 policies, and they're all good to go. They're all paid for. That's peace of mind, and we all want that. He couldn't buy a policy now. He's about to have surgery. It's too late. But that peace of mind made my mother feel good. And one of them is an SNL policy too, by the way. It made her feel good. And that burden just lifted off my mom's shoulder because he's been the one paying all the bills all this time. He's been the one doing all the business this time. And thank goodness he's taking care of mom. But then when it comes down to this time, she's going, oh gosh, what do we have or what do we not have? Where are we at? And so I challenge you to really get serious about serving people and giving them something. You're not just out there selling for commission. You're out there giving them something that they can use that's going to be important to them, because they're going to think of you as the one that no matter when it comes down to the bottom part, whether they purchase a policy or not, you at least gave them something. And when I promise you, husbands and wife are going to look at each other and go, why haven't we done this before? And they're going to get in a fight at the table and go, well, you're supposed to, you're supposed to, you're supposed to, you're supposed to.
Right.
Why did we have this, Paul? I don't know, and that's okay. At least you were the one to give them something that they can think about, and you can lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that you gave them a peace of mind or a chance to have a peace of mind. So that's why I love this page, even though it's a little bit brash and people are like, oh gosh, or they could get an argument. But when you leave, they're going to fill this out and it's going to be theirs. Now, the second page, Michael, there's a few things in here we won't get into, but there's some few things in here y'all might want to put in here at your own, whatever your own things that you want to see. Where do you prefer to have your service at the funeral home? Do you any favorite songs or hymn? I mean, hey, if your sister gets this piece of paper, she might not know that your favorite song was the Humpty Dance or something, George Strait, whatever it may be. But hey, at least you wrote it down and it would be there. I mean, what do you like? She may think, well, I think Michael would want an oak one, and Michael goes stainless steel, or whatever, But pallbearers, that's a big deal. Who do you want to carry your casket? The pallbearers. I mean, who are your friends? So I hope you can kind of see that these would be important. If you were to open a sock drawer or something like that, and your parents have one of these, and you went through this, you would be like, man, I did not know that Dad wanted to wear his watch during, or be buried with his glasses. That's good to know, because I would have wondered if he wanted it or not. So these are added value things. And then I come down here and I say, hey, Michael, a few things right here. Final expense provides affordable and a convenient way to manage finances for the end of life, so you won't leave the burden to your loved ones. Will you read those bullet points, Michael, real quick?
Whole life protection up to $35,000. affordable rates that will never increase, protection that can never be reduced or canceled, simple application with no medical exam, immediate benefit from the very first day, guaranteed cash value. Anyone through 90 years of age is eligible to apply.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So I want to show you one more thing, Michael, and then we won't be long from there. The second thing I want to show you is that, do you remember right up here where we went through that the average funeral cost $8,000 to $10,000?
Yes.
So one other thing that I want to leave you with, and that you can put with your policy. So did you hear subliminally? I said put with your policy again.
I heard you.
Is this funeral planning fact sheet. And what this does for you or your sister is that when that day comes, it's going to have a checklist, Michael, of things that need to be thought about, things that need to be done, or things that need to be paid for. Okay, so think about that. Things that need to be done, things that need to be gathered, like this right here, these vital statistics. Remember, we got to get all these things together for you. But if you wrote them down, they're already together.
It's already together.
Already together. Funeral arrangements right here. You know, things that you need to be thought about. You know, women, you know, cosmetology women, you know, clothing, you know, legal certificates. They have to be obtained and or paid for. Okay. Things that need to be done on the day of the service. Have we gotten all these things together? Do we have a chapel? Do we have a limo? Or are we doing flower car? But, you know, when you go down through the list here, it just guides you really well, or the person that's left behind, because it's like, okay, type of business, that's not relevant. I'm going to mark that out. Oh, date of birth, I need to get that right here. Father's name. It's just stuff you have to do. But it's a real good guide here. And the second thing about this is that look how much stuff extra also you're going to have to pay for: food, clothing, transportation, lodging, Holiday Inn or whatever. Bills to pay. Look at all these bills to pay. What about your headstone right here? Okay, so not only are there things in here, and what I challenge you to do, and I'm going to look at you when I say this, is that you go through this planning fact sheet and you pick out yourself, because it may be different for all of y'all. You pick out 5 or 6 things that will cost money. As we look at these, cost money in addition to just the actual funeral. Okay. That way, when you're in front of the client, you can go, Miss Jones, what about this? What about this to pay for? What about this to pay for? What about this to pay for? And the reason you do this is that I'm going to say, Michael, again, I'm going to give this to you so you can put it with your policy, because your sister will need this, right? When you pass. And it's going to be a lot easier to look at this, because it would break my heart to think of them having to do this for me. And we know planning ahead helps our families. Okay. And we know that helps our families. So I'm going to leave this with you here. The main thing too I wanted to show you is that, remember we talked about $8,000 or $10,000. We usually look at plans around 12 or 15, Michael, just because we want that extra money to be in there for those things that you saw in this page. Does that make sense? Like 3,000 or 4,000. Yeah. We want that to be there. And I know you said you've seen some funerals before, or been a part, or maybe even had to pay for them. I don't know, you know, that cost, you know, in addition to this. So we write policies around $12,000 or $15,000, or what it may be. And without hesitation, I toggle back to my, and I know I'm going back and forth a little bit. Without hesitation, I toggle back to my original presentation, and I head right to this part right here, and I say, Michael, perfect. I saw earlier that you were, 42 years old, and and it looks like, we're going to do, 12 or 15,000. And I go right in here, and I go, Michael, tell me about any medical issues you may have. Tell me about any medications you might be on. Okay. And at that point in time in my presentation, not to toggle around too much, I'm going to actually go in and have a presentation, have an application. I'm going to go ahead and have an application, in front of me, where it may be. I got the wrong one for California, but anyways, I'm going to have the application in front of me, and I'm going to go right here, okay, to this part, to where the medications are, right here. So when I have final expense plan here out. I'm going to say $12,000 to $15,000, Michael. Does that sound about right? I mean, to cover everything?
Yes.
Perfect. Any medications you're on, and you don't have to answer that right now. So I go in there, and as now I'm in the point in time where I'm looking at the medications with Michael, okay, and I'm right here. Then I know at this point in time whether Michael is going to qualify for our preferred, standard, or our modified plans, okay? Preferred, standard, or modified plans, based on the applications. And I'm not going to go into that today because that will be next week as to how people qualify for preferred, which is all no's all the way down, or do they qualify for our standard plan right here, okay, or do they qualify for our modified? At that point in time, I can jump in there and I can run rates, and I'll put my total benefit right here. Actually, this spot right here is for the name of the person, so Michael, and then I'll put total benefit right here of $15,000, whatever it may be. And then I'm going to go right here. Michael's is $60.85 a month. Okay. And when I do that and I quote it up and I don't pause, then Michael has a plan here. And I'm going to say, Michael, now here's the deal. We talked about this, and we talked about you needing it, right? We talked about you not having it, right? We talked about you don't want to leave the burden, right? We talked about you're not getting, or any of us, any younger or healthier, right? And this is the best it's going to be right here. And $60.85 for $15,000 coverage is a very good opportunity to make this happen, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Let's just wrap this up now, and I'm going to go ahead and get a few more pieces of information, and I will be out of your hair. So at that presentation piece, we wrap the application up. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but just you do your application and write it up. And at the very end, I'm going to say this. Okay, and I'm going to go over here to my referral sheet. Okay, and I want everybody to get to used to using this sheet right here. This is probably the most important thing you can do. Michael, I really appreciate us visiting today and getting to know you. And I'm super happy that we got to do business together. And so, Michael, I have to tell you, I want customers just like you. You were easy to work with. You are very, responsive. I love your house, and it's very. I like this territory, this area. I want to protect more people, Michael, and this is what I do for a living, and I want to protect more people just like you. So here's a couple of questions I need to ask you, and then I'll wrap up and I'll be out of your hair. Okay, would that be fair?
Yes.
Are you comfortable? Did I make you feel comfortable, Michael, with talking?
Yes, sir. Really.
Are you happy with the protection? You happy with the 15 for $70?
Yes, that'll be perfect.
Do you have any questions that were left undone?
No, not at this time.
Okay, so what am I doing here? One thing in Sales 101 that we do is solidify the sale. Oh man. So what that means, I'm sure all of y'all have seen this before. That means I'm going back and re-asking the question, Michael, do you have any questions or anything I need to know? And I'll tell the client, Michael, I don't want you to cancel ever. Do you know that? I don't want you to ever cancel this policy because this is a rate that's going to be set for life. It's going to be set in stone, and you never have to worry about it going up, and it's always going to grow, and you're going to be happy that it's going to be there for your family. So I want to know, are there any questions? Because the worst thing we can do in Sales 101 is to send that client out, just go away, walk out the door, get in our truck. Yeah, call our significant other, whoever it may be, go, I made a sale. I got commissions. We can eat today. We can whatever. Get home, process it. You're sitting good, sitting pretty. You've already spent that commission money, and then you look one day, and it's 3 months later, it's canceled. You're like, dang it. What happened? What happened? Like, no way. I got a chargeback now. I thought that I answered all the questions, but you didn't do your counsel evaluation form here. You didn't ask them that. And when you walked out the door, Michael was like, I don't know. I had a couple of questions that I don't really understand. What type of policy is that? When's my draft date? Those things cause chargebacks. So solidify the sale. And then at the very end, when Michael says, yes, you bet, I'm happy, then you go, I'll tell you what, Michael, if you don't mind, would you write down a couple, 2 or 3 people that I can go see? I won't bother them but I just want to, I want clients just like you. And I would like to visit with them too, to give them the opportunity to have what I gave you, the information. Would you mind doing that? And I'll call them, and because I know, they know you, and but I really appreciate that. So I want clients just like you. So I'm gonna wrap up here. We'll grab that, and I'll be out of your hair, Michael. Fair enough?
That's fair. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. But that's so just kind of flying by. We've got your presentation where you're building trust. You're giving them the information for their historical records for them to keep. You're assuming the sale. You're going, hey, yeah, when you have this, you're going to put it with your policy. It'll be back here in 7-10 business days. We'll be all good. I want to write, and I want to protect your family too, and because I live in this area and I love you, and everything else. And so I hope some of this is kind of a few things hitting home, because we do have a great presentation, and we do have facts and points that are going to let you and allow you to talk to the people. And I want it to be a conversation where you can just sit back and relax, and they have a presentation, you have a presentation, and you go, hey, look at this, what's going on? I hope it can be relaxed like that, because at the end of the day, you're a servant, and you're serving them. And if you still don't make the sale, and if they still don't write a policy, they're going to know. And at the bottom of this sheet right here that you have, you're going to leave your business card, but also you're going to leave right here your contact information here and your agent phone number. And who knows, this thing may be sitting on their countertop 3 weeks from now. They've got your business card, and they've got here. You've already gone through all of this with them, and they walk by that thing and they go, you know what? Nicole did a good job. Chris was right. We need to call him back up. And when you're doing a good job like that, those things will happen. Okay. And you're able to also go back, and you're able to, follow up with these people and go, hey, by the way, 4 months later, I was over there and I did that presentation. Yeah. We've been thinking about it, and Uncle Dan had a funeral, and we think we want to get a policy. And then that's when we start to talk about pipelines. And I am on the verge of really getting into sales pipelines to help y'all either get a subscription or pay for or whatever, or build a pipeline tool for y'all. That way, every time, even if Michael says no, I'm going to put him in my pipeline. I'm going to see him 3 months from now, 6 months from now. Okay, and I want to make sure that I protect Michael. Okay, during those times. So, but work on your presentation, practice your presentation, get it out, scribble it, get in the mirror, get with your whoever, and write a policy for yourself, see how it feels, see how it looks. Okay. And then do a historical record for each and every one of your family members. Please, that's your homework. Get these, take them to each one and say, hey, do y'all mind, would you fill one of these out? Because this is what I do. And I think it's important for y'all, even if you don't have a policy, you have this information. That way, if it's ever needed, it's right here. Okay. Because you got to be a believer in that, because that's what building trust. It's hard to just go up to the door and go, well, thank you for sitting down here. Do you need 15 or 20,000? What do you think? It's like, they're like, well, what are you talking about here? Where are we even at here? Oh, you want to buy some life insurance? I do 15 or 20. It's going to be $100, $120. Which one you want? I mean, you can't do that. You got to build trust, and you got to give them value. You got to give them, yourself and your heart and your soul, and know I care for you. Because at the end of the day, I want to be sitting on the front pew of that funeral, shaking your hand, hugging your neck, hugging your family's neck. And I want you looking at me and saying, thank you for the policy you wrote, because we wouldn't be able to have this nice casket without you, these nice flowers without you. Mom would have never wanted, we've never been able to afford this. And they're hugging your neck. Or are you going to be in the back pew saying, I got to get out of Dodge here because I forgot to ask them about a policy. I forgot to say anything. I was too busy. And you've got your shirt on going, covering up your life insurance badge, trying to get out of the back of the church. And so just think of those things that are going to come up in life. They're going to happen. It's just a matter of when the man upstairs allows it to happen, but it's going to happen. Okay. So anyways, I wanted to bring you the enthusiasm. I've got 4 minutes. I promise you I'll get you out of here in an hour. Work on presentation. Okay. Work on the things that you like. Work on the things, not Keelan likes, work on the things that you believe in, and find your presentation, because you're the special one. You're in your territory. You know your people. You speak the language. Okay. So work on yours. So I hope that makes sense today with everybody. I appreciate you joining me today. We're going to be back on schedule. We're back out kicking some rear end. And I'll be here tomorrow to have another topic. If you have anything, you know, I answer my phone. You text me, email me, you need materials, whatever you need. This will be recorded too on the YouTube channel. Hey, I want to make it easy for you. See 5 people a day. Just tell them what you do, love on their neck, tell them you appreciate it. Tell them whenever you can, let's visit and write it down, document it, go see 5 more. You'll be successful. So thank you for joining on today. If you have any questions, text me, holler at me later. I really appreciate y'all and everything you do. Go protect. And as I always say in Texas, adios.